Hey guys, what's going on? Conditions are pretty horrible today, but I'm going to show you how to spray paint your wheels. So, first thing is first, jack the car up and take the wheels off. Don't do what I did. I did it on dirt, but I didn't have any better options. It is on jack stands, I'm not too worried about it, but if you're doing that, please do not go under the car. Alright, so I only have 2 jack stands, so I can only do 2 wheels safely at a time. So when you get the wheels off, we're going to want to clean them up. They're a little dirty, so get your favorite soap and water and sponge and whatever and clean them. And when these are clean, I will be back. Alright, so got these clean for the most part. You could use you could go to the car wash, clean them that way. What I did is I just took a bucket of hot water and some Dawn dish soap. I used Dawn dish soap because I was too lazy to go grab my car washing soap, but also Dawn dish soap has degreaser in it, so that'll be kind of good for painting. So now that I got them somewhat clean, I'm not worried about this little stuff because we're going to sand it up. If you're just plasti dipping it, don't sand it. Some people sand before they plasti dip. Don't sand before you plasti dip. The reason why is when you sand, it's going to help whatever you're coating the surface with adhere to it better. And if the whole reason of plasti dip is you can peel it off when you want to. If you sand it and then plasti dip it, you're not going to be able to peel it off because it's going to get stuck in all the little crevices that you made with your sandpaper. I went ahead and took my center caps out as well, so I can paint those separately. That way, if the center caps ever need to come off, there's not going to be paint that'll chip and crack in here. So now that we got these all dried off in the way I want, we're going to get our sandpaper. So let me go grab it. All right, I got the sandpaper now. What you're going to want to do when you're sanding these wheels, if you choose to sand them, depending on how bad your wheels are, you want to start off with a heavy grit and work your way up to a fine grit. I'm broke and I'm lazy, so all I have is 120 grit, and I'm just going to use that. It's kind of in between coarse and fine. It should be fine. I'm going to primer it. The primer is a filler primer, so it should come out decent. Plus it's just the Project Protege, so it's just my winter beater. So we're gonna go ahead and sand this. Don't be afraid to get in places like where little nooks and crannies pretty much. But anyways, I'm gonna take my 120 grit and we're gonna sand this. If you have a coarser sandpaper, you're gonna want to start off with your coarse, which is gonna be your lower. The lower the number, the more coarse it is, and work your way up to a finer grit sandpaper. So I'm gonna get these sanded and then we'll be back. All right, guys. Your wheels should be looking something like this. Got them all sanded and scuffed down. Now you're gonna wanna go ahead and wash them again. So I went ahead and washed this one, and then you're just gonna wanna make sure that you get all the soap and suds out of any little areas like where the lug nuts go. Otherwise paint will not stick in there. When you're done with that, you're gonna wanna make sure the wheels are completely dry. And when they're dry, it's also a good thing to maybe use a little microfiber towel and get some paint thinner. Just a little bit of paint thinner, and go ahead and wipe down the wheels too. That'll pick up any little paint or any little dust or paint particles that you didn't get off before. But I don't have any, so I'm not gonna do that. But you should, because it'll turn out a lot better. But this is a $1,300 car, and I don't really give a shit. So when that's all good to go, we will go ahead and move on to the paint. All right, now that we got that done, you're gonna wanna get your paint. And my little cheat is I use index cards and put them around the wheel to help not get paint on the wheel. You can use tape, but in my experience this works better, and tape doesn't like to stick to rubber all the time. So now we're going to take our primer, and we're going to be about 6 inches to a foot away, and we're just going to paint, and we're going to do about 5 minutes in between each coat. And we're going to do about 3 or 4 coats. If you've never painted anything before, take a piece of wood, practice doing some painting. So I'm going to grab my primer, we're going to do that, and I'm doing the center caps separately. Don't forget to shake up your paint. This is the primer that I'm using today. Picked it up at Walmart or Menards, one or the other. Just make sure you give it a good shake. Make sure it's not cold either. Ideally, you want to be painting when it's somewhat warm. It's about 60 degrees out, so not too bad, but these are not ideal paint conditions. So, I did my first coat. What you're going to want to do is just a light dusting. I'll show you guys kind of how I did it here. Just a light dusting. Make sure you're getting all the little nooks and crannies. And that's all you got to do. We're going to do that with each coat. Like I said, do about 4 or 5. Wait about 5-10 minutes in between. If you're doing it outside, be careful that you don't get crap on it like I am here. This is my little barrier I made to keep the wind down. So yeah, and I apologize for the shaky videos. I'd try and show you guys how I'm painting them more, but I don't have my tripod. It hasn't come in the mail yet, so we're gonna do a couple more coats and then I'll show you guys. All right, this one is good and dry for the most part. I did about 3 or 4 coats on there. I'm thinking it's good. And now we can go ahead and start applying the black. I'll just let you guys see what this looks like. You can see from painting outside there is a little bit of crap in the paint, but I'm not worried about it. For the most part, they look good for only spending about $10 on this. So we'll start applying black. All right, we got that first coat on. As you can see, it's a light dusting. It is a gloss paint, but you don't want it to look too shiny because that's how you know you're putting it on too heavy. And if that happens, you'll have runs, and it's hard to fix those. You can sand them out, but it's not fun. Still got that one. See, fucking wind. Goddamn. In case you're wondering, this is what I'm using for this. Make sure it's for bonding to metal or whatever you're using. So I'm just using this guy. We're gonna do about 5-6 coats. I'll show you when it's done. All right, we got that black drying. It's looking good for not costing much. Gotta do a couple more coats on that one. And don't forget about the hubcaps. When this is dry, we're gonna go ahead and spray some clear coat now so it stays a nice gloss. Otherwise, if you don't want to spend that extra money, you don't have to. But I'll come back and show you when I do the gloss. All right guys, we got them finished up, put them on. I also hit the calipers with some paint. There's some shit in it, so when they fully cure, I'm gonna see if they come out. Doesn't look that bad for how cheap it was, but it looks a lot worse in person. But I'm not worried about it. I like it. For me anyways, it drastically changes the look of my winter beater. So I'm digging it. Only time will tell when they last. This is actually the first time I've ever spray painted wheels. Plasti dipped multiple times, but I wanted to see how a gloss finish would look, and my powder coater wanted to charge way too much. I also got some new black spline lugs too, so yeah, you can see all the imperfections in it. My camera actually picks them up more than you kind of do in person, but as my dad would say, it's a 5-footer from 5 feet away. Looks perfect. But thanks for watching, guys. Please smack that subscribe button. Peace.